What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is Steve with the MrBigKid channel, and I appreciate you all watching. Today we're talking about one of the most fun PCCs I have ever fired. That's because I'm absolutely in love with this round. So this right here, this is the CMMG Mark 57. This is a Dissent. So the Dissent line that CMMG recently, within the last year or so, released, it's basically a short action pistol. This is the CMMG Dissent Mark 57, and this is chambered in 5.7. So let's talk about that 5.7 round real quick, then we'll jump into this gun, talk about some details also. So this right here, this is a 300 blackout. Basically you have a 30 caliber bullet, and then a 5.56 casing. They shorten the casing and they stretch it out, and then you can fit this 30 cal bullet in there. So next, this is a 5.56. You can see it's pretty much the same size as that 300 blackout minus a projectile. So this one is a 9mm, nothing fancy, 115 grain 9mm. This right here is a 5.7 by 28. Teeny tiny little bullet with a little bottleneck cartridge and all that, but this thing is flying at some stupid fast velocities. Now the 5.7 is a round that's pretty well known, and it's a round that's fired out of the famous FN-P90, that little submachine gun you see in Counter-Strike and all those video games. It's also fired out of the 5.7. The handgun is actually called a 5.7. There's a lot of companies out there that have also picked up the 5.7. That includes Ruger, Palmetto State Armory, and I think possibly Smith & Wesson, possibly, don't know for sure, but. So the 5.7 is actually being a pretty adopted round right now. It's about $1 a round, but I've seen it a lot cheaper. The 5.7 a couple months ago used to cost upwards of $1 a round, but lately I've seen it for about $32, $33 a box of 50. So that's a lot better than what it used to be, almost half the cost. Almost, not quite. So price has gone down a lot in 5.7. The problem is when you shoot something as fun as the Dissent Mark 57, that cost gets expensive still because you just want to blast those rounds out. So let's talk about the feel of this guy. One of the softest shooting guns I've ever fired, not only because the 5.7 is a soft shooting round, but CMMG has a technology, and that's called a radial-delayed blowback. And now we're gonna talk about that technology in another video. I'm gonna demo a standard bolt carrier group with a radial-delayed bolt carrier group. There's a big difference. I guess a way to kind of sum it up is the bolt on this radial-delayed blowback is almost like it's spring-loaded. That radial-delayed blowback actually adds quite a bit of softness. Now when you shoot the Mark 57, all you really feel when you're shooting this thing is the inertia of that bolt traveling back and forth. And that's it. And the thing is, it's a short action, so it doesn't even travel as far as it would in a standard AR with a buffer tube. It just travels a little bit like right there. You have a mostly ambidextrous firearm. The only reason it's not completely ambidextrous is because the right side of the firearm does not have a bolt hold open feature. And I know I used to mess that up with the Radian Model 1. I thought it didn't have it, but it turned out the mag release was also a bolt hold open. Confirmed by CMMG, there is no right side hold open on this guy, but let's talk about what you can do. So on the left side of the gun, you have a little rocker right here. These two little buttons on the side. This bottom one right here holds that bolt open. So you pull the bolt back, press this in, and it holds the bolt open. And then of course the top side of this rocker, you press this in, and it sends it home. So on the 5.7 model, you don't have a left-handed mag release, but you do have a large mag release on the right side. It looks good. The way they cut that in, the styling, I think they pretty much nailed it with how that looks. This 5.7 takes the FN-57 mags, not the rifle magazines, but the pistol magazines. You can see on the latch of the 5.7 mag, it's towards the front of the magazine. That's why you can see on the mag release right here, pushing this in releases the front of that. So these 5.7 magazines hold 20 rounds, but all they sent with this gun was 20 round mags, so that's all I have to shoot. I don't own the FN-57, so I don't have any additional mags or experience behind that firearm. All right, so a really cool feature about this guy is you have a reversible, non-reciprocating charging handle. Right now it's set up for a left hand or left side orientation, but it's pretty easy. You pull your charging handle up, you can simply remove your charging handle, get a right-sided one, and it works just perfectly. Right now you can see that this guy has a collapsible brace on it, which is nice. It's awesome for concealability, and you have a really good backpack gun. Each of these comes with a Picatinny rail on the back. They do not come with a brace, they do not come with a stock. It comes with a blank Picatinny rail, so you can mount whatever you want to this thing. And it kind of, you know, with this current brace stupidness going out right now, you could choose what you want to do. The handguard does have a monolithic look. The cuts and styling of everything just works pretty well, especially if you look around the side right here, just the way it kind of flares out from the receiver and that flare continues onto the handguard. It's a good touch. It also has a molded in hand stop right on the front. It's just to keep your fingers from going into the no-no zone right over here. That's assuming you want to keep your fingers. So before we continue with this video, I want to give a shout out to my channel supporters out there. They help pay the bills and I really appreciate them. These guys right here, ETS, Elite Tactical Systems. They make those cool translucent magazines for all sorts of different platforms, and they make those cam speed loaders. If you know how to use them right, they actually work really well. I use them for all my Glock mags. I use them for all my AR mags. Very fast way and hands-off way to reload your magazines in bulk. So shout out ETS, no more mag thumb.
Mag logo.
Yeah. Is the trigger too slow or is the action too slow to go really, really fast? I'm not too fast. So
This does have a 1/2x28 standard threaded muzzle device. Now I'm gonna remove this and I'm gonna put on a chemo adapter so I can put on my suppressor. You do have an ambidextrous and a reversible safety selector over here. You can make this a 60-degree or a 90-degree safety selector. It comes from factory set up as a 60-degree selector. This thing does use a Trigger Tech ARD trigger. It's a flat shoed trigger and it's got actually a really nice trigger pull. So this trigger has a very clean break. There you go. Very clean break. And the reset, not bad as well. So there's very little movement in the trigger. That's nice. That helps with shooting it quickly. That helps with speed. And the reset is a very natural reset. It doesn't feel like you have to purposely move your finger forward. It kind of helps your finger bump up a lot like the other triggers that I really like. I like triggers that you don't have to purposely move your finger much. All you gotta do is purposely pull your finger, not straighten your finger. Does that make sense? Probably not. For those of you guys that are wondering, this right here is the Viridian GDO30. This is a green dot optic, and it's actually a great optic. It's got a little quick detach system right here, and it's a great pair up with this firearm right here. Don't really want the magnification. I just want a nice clear dot to use for aiming purposes, and it works really well. I do love the GDO30. Viridian's got some pretty sweet optics out there for a decent budget, and the green dots that they use and the green reticles are really good. Reliability. So CMMG sent me 250 rounds to test with this thing, and I went through all those rounds. I ended up buying an additional box just to have for measurement reasons, comparisons, and for this video as well. Out of that 250 rounds, I haven't had a single failure. No failure to feed, no failure to eject. Striker struck every round and detonated every round. Like I said, the recoil is extremely soft. 5.7's already a naturally soft shooting round. With the addition of the radial-delayed blowback system, it's even better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna list all the specs for you guys just so I don't have to talk about them. To bore you guys, you can go ahead and fast forward through them, but for all you gun nerds out there, here you go. Here's some nice elevator music to go with it. All right, guys, that's it. I appreciate you all watching. CMMG nailed it with the Dissent. They have a whole bunch of other models in their Dissent line, just released their 9mm versions as well. Thank you all so much. I'll see you guys later.